Here's the one thing I use to write better speeches in half the time. Now, I used to be someone who thought that you needed these big chunks of time at a time to go and write good speeches. I thought you had to move aside an entire afternoon and sit down and just write. And if you didn't have that, you couldn't get good ideas, you couldn't write, you couldn't make good speeches. That is wrong, because I've used something differently. I've used a different approach and different framework to writing my speeches, and it's helped me write better speeches much quicker and just keep up with a demanding schedule, which has helped me speak in front of 2,000 people a couple of times with relative ease, win some public speaking competitions, and get a few standing ovations. Cool. So I'm speaking kind of fast here because I need to, I don't have a watch, but the time's there. I need to quickly get out of here. I got skills. So I won't even be writing. Essentially, what it is an exercise called Crash and Burn. I got from Matthew Dix in his book, Storyworthy. It's all about storytelling. I also made a cheat sheet on it, kind of valuable if you want it, link in description. It's free. Check it out if you want. If not, that's all cool. So basically, what we're going to do in this exercise is we just sit down and we immediately write. And there's no judgment to the quality of our thought. There's no filter. There's no, let me see if I can put this in some better words. Whatever comes to mind, you just put it out there. And it's a lot like meditation, because with meditation, we sit down and we just focus on the breath and we breathe. And whatever thought comes to mind, we're not very judgmental of it and we just kind of push it to the side. And we focus back on the breath. But what we want to do with this, not this video, with this writing now, is we sit down to write. And we have this clear goal in mind. Write speech, yes. Monkey, write speech, yes. And ideas come. And we think, this idea kind of sucks. I don't know how it's going to fit in yet. I don't know. Maybe that's not even the right thing to talk about at the moment. We don't want to be judgmental of it. But instead of pushing it away, we want to grab that and put it down and type it out. So we're sitting, we're writing, idea comes, take it, write it out. Bar for bar, word for word, as much as you can remember it. Next one comes, poof, put it down, write it out, blah, blah, blah. And so what we end up doing is we end up writing a bunch of stuff. And yeah, not all of it's going to be good, but we end up writing far more, where there's a far more potential for good writing than if we had just sat there and filtered it out and thought about it forever. Because all of this comes from this idea, which I find to be very, very true, and it's my personal experience, that your first idea is never your best idea. And so if that's the case, which I believe to be true, and just give me the benefit of the doubt here, your first idea is never your best idea. When writing, especially when we're starting, if that's the case, it doesn't make any sense to go and spend all this brain power and this energy to then try and make our first idea even better. Because we might take our thought and try and filter it out and write it better and make it better and put it out there and present it well on our piece of paper. But what ends up happening is by the end of our speech, we'll look at that initial thought and be like, dude, that kind of sucked, or at least we modified it a lot more. We had to write a lot more of our story. We had to go and do this research in that article. Only then is that point actually decent. But even then we have to go and refine it a bit more, filter, you know what I mean? So there's still way more effort we have to do to it. So in the beginning, we're going to be just wasting our brain power, and we're just going to be wasting our energy and time trying to refine that, when that's only going to make sense later. So your idea is going to suck, bottom line. Okay, even if you refine it now, or if you just put it out there and just write it out the way it came to mind, it's not going to be the best, because your first idea is never your best idea. So whatever you get, just take it and put it out there. And this is very effective now, because I can just come to the library and sit down for 20, 30 minutes before a class and just write. Just write. And what ends up happening is that this approach has to be, it works in unison with consistency. So every day, if we come and we write for 10, 20, 30 minutes, over the work week, 5 days, if we write for 30 minutes, that's, what's that, 2.5 hours, which is a lot of time. And so but if we just had one afternoon, it was a crappy afternoon, the weather was off, there was a bunch of noise, everything we write in that moment will almost be influenced by that day, by that environment, by those circumstances. So if by us by us writing, having a writing session each day, there's new circumstances, there's new influences, there's new perspective as a result. We might be in a better mood one day, we might feel better one day, I mean, it's the same thing. We might have slightly more quiet the one day, we might, there's a lot of more potential for variety. So we can get different ideas, we can get different thoughts, we can get different insight. And the consistency part is key here, because if you just write for 20 minutes one day, that's not enough compared to 3 hours in one afternoon. Does that make sense? I have my laptop just to guide me here. Just give yourself sessions and write as much as you can without trying to think too much. Think about how to structure it, your thoughts, blah, blah, blah. Just put it out there. Don't think too much. Brain equals bad, okay? You're kind of like a caveman, and you're detoxifying from intellect. Does that make sense? So you're just wasting brain matter trying to refine your first thought. If we want to get all smart and mysterious, this could be oh yeah, I said this could be called something like unraveling the unconscious phenomenon effect. Essentially, we are just when we think, we're kind of letting our subconscious take the driving wheel here. But then as soon as we go and try and filter it out, refine it, make it better, we're kind of letting our consciousness take the front seat and say, no, but that's not politically correct. No, but that idea is not good enough for these people. Oh no, but that's not smart enough. It's going to make us sound primitive. So that's okay. But in order to get the ideas and in order to get all this information, tell this intellectual consciousness to go out, F out of here, bro. We just want to get as much thinking and as much intellect out of the way and just let the subconscious lead us. Whatever thought comes up and arises, take them, put it in there. Boom. That's how you get a bunch of writing out. Subconscious getting out, which is why we, or I for that matter, find myself getting jokes randomly, a random idea, which is great, that leads from one good point to another. I prefer this mysterious approach more, lol, unraveling the subconscious. So yeah, we kind of let the subconscious take the driving wheel here. And that's how we can just randomly get a joke, just randomly get a good idea. Because there's all this good, secret, mysterious knowledge brewing within us in the subconscious. We just have to go and take them out somehow. And the only way we can do that is by dismissing and pushing all the intellectual, Mr. Suit and Tie, intellectual stuff out of the way. And just let the subconscious caveman take the helm, just for a little bit, okay? And then I used to think you needed a bunch of chunks of time, like putting aside the whole afternoon in order to write and get a good idea, but that's not the case. Within 1 hour of your time, you can sometimes get more done in an entire afternoon session. The answer, subconscious unraveling. Obviously, here consistency improves, trumps one big session every now and then. It can be an everyday or couple times a week thing. You win. Oh, if it can, okay. Also, why this works so well is when we often just need to get the ball rolling. Hard part, OMG. Yeah. What we end up doing is, or I've realized that oftentimes I spend so much time thinking about the first point. And then eventually, once I get it going and I finally get a good idea somehow, and I just write something, then ideas start coming. And then I build the momentum and the ball starts rolling and more stuff starts coming, right? But I spend way too much time refining and thinking about that first initial point. What I could have done is I could have just wrote down whatever I got, whatever came to mind, just put it on paper, and the ball would have started rolling much, much quicker and sooner, right? I wouldn't have wasted all that brain power trying to refine and get that good quality first point, and I wouldn't have spent so much time trying to get it as well. So I save time and I save brain power. That's the goodness of this whole process. Then the first idea we feel like it needs to be so good, but even when we spend time thinking about it and constructing our thought to phrase it in the right way, our first idea is never our best idea. So we're wasting brain power in the long run trying to make the first point bang It's perfection procrastination. In a nutshell, that's the video. Push the intellect to the side, embrace your inner caveman, and just start writing. Okay, it's called Crash and Burn. I got it from Matthew Dix in his book Storyworthy. It's all about storytelling. Check the link in the description if you want it. If you have, no, not the book, my cheat sheet on it. If you have any questions, please do feel free to ask me in the comments. I will reply. And I hope you got some insight and value from this. Hope you can use it and apply it to your writing and hopefully accelerate that whole process. So good luck, my friend. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.